It's a tradition in Hong Kong that reportedly dates back 140 years. What's known as the fire dragon measures 220 feet long and is carried by more than 300 people. Its lights are the tips of tens of thousands of incense sticks. When this began as a ritual in the 1800s, it was intended to prevent plague from spreading in Hong Kong. Today, though, it's a performance, an event that lasts 3 nights during the time of the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival, and it involves dancing, cheering crowds, cultural traditions. During the intermission, the sticks that form the dragon's body are taken out and handed to spectators. It's a gesture meant to bring good luck, good health, and blessings for the year to come. Those who attended say it's a wonderful way to bring people together to observe everything from the athleticism of the dancers to the stunning sight and smells of the incense. Hi everyone, this is The World from A to Z, and I'm Carl Azuz. Escape from Everest sounds a little bit like a 90s action movie, but that's what hundreds of hikers needed to do following a heavy and highly unusual October snowstorm. Officials say this time of year is usually clear on the world's highest mountain. The Indian monsoon season typically wraps up in September, opening blue skies over Everest. But snow started falling last Friday as part of what the BBC described as a shock blizzard. Campsites in Tibet on the Chinese side of the mountain were quickly covered, and some tents reportedly collapsed. Almost 1,000 hikers were thought to be trapped, many at an elevation of 16,000 feet, more than halfway up the mountain's summit, and authorities launched rescue efforts to bring them to safety. Chinese media say hundreds were saved over the weekend, though about 200 others were still on Everest as of Monday afternoon. Several cases of hypothermia were treated. That's an emergency situation when the human body temperature drops below 95 degrees. One member of a hiking team said wet and cold conditions came on so fast that their guide had never seen weather like it. But Mount Everest wasn't the only place in the region battered by nature. More than 40 people were reportedly killed in Nepal by floods resulting from heavy rain there. The world's highest peak, which reaches 29,032 feet, is part of a mountain that sits on the border between China and Nepal.
Word of knowledge. The Soviet Union's Luna 3 mission, which launched in 1959, was the first to do what? Land on the moon's surface, carry an animal to space, photograph the moon's far side, retrieve lunar samples. On October 7, 1959, the Luna 3 spacecraft became the first to photograph the moon's far side and eventually captured dozens of images.
On this date in world history.
Yesterday's show brought you up to speed on events aimed at ending the latest war in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It began on this date in 2023 when the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched a terrorist attack against Israel, killing 1,200 people and taking around 250 others as hostages. Israel's government then declared war and began strikes on Gaza, the territory that Hamas controls. The militant group says over the past 2 years, more than 66,000 people have been killed there. The war continues, but negotiations are underway that could bring it to an end in the days ahead. And this was the date in 2001 when the U.S. led several other countries in what was named Operation Enduring Freedom. It began with a bombing campaign in Afghanistan, whose Taliban leaders refused to hand over the al-Qaeda terrorists responsible for the September 11th attacks on the United States. The conflict would become America's longest war.
It's October, and that means rolling out the pumpkins, ghosts, and goblins. But the most frightful thing about Halloween this year may just be the prices. Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says they saw people start shopping in September or earlier for Halloween because they're worried items will cost more, so they're spreading out their purchases.
Many of those costs haven't yet been passed on to consumers.
President Donald Trump implemented tariffs on a variety of imported goods to encourage companies to make products in the U.S. According to the Alliance for American Manufacturing, virtually all Halloween costumes on the market are imported, which means they'll be subject to tariffs. But Cohen says tariffs have affected certain goods differently.
Less than a quarter of tariff costs have been passed on to consumers.
Candy and sweets prices are also up from a year ago, according to the latest Consumer Price Index. Shoppers are spending more on Halloween this year. The NRF says people are spending about $114 per person. That's nearly $11 more than last year.
In times of uncertainty, and we've seen this starting with the pandemic, during times of inflation and others, people are turning to these celebrations, these fun holidays where no matter what's going on in the world, you can dress up in something fun.
If those prices are giving you a scare, there are ways to save. Cohen suggests shopping at discount stores, reusing decorations, and getting crafty with costumes and decor. I'm Jen Sullivan.
Where in the world? This is a nation of West Africa that partially borders the Atlantic Ocean. It has the largest population on the continent, though it's not the largest country in area. Its capital used to be Lagos, but the government moved it to Abuja in 1991. This is Nigeria, a nation of almost 237 million people.
Yesterday, we featured a nurse in Uganda who climbs precarious wooden ladders straight up cliff sides to bring medical care to a remote village. Today, we have an organization that says it's brought care to hundreds of thousands in the bustling marketplaces of Nigeria.
Amidst the hustle and bustle of this busy market in Nigeria, traders often work from dawn to dusk, sometimes at the expense of their health. Many prioritize their businesses over doctor visits, ignoring health issues until they become serious problems. So, rather than waiting for patients to visit clinics, some doctors are bringing healthcare to the patients. And for some, it's their first face-to-face consultation with a medical doctor.
There is the hidden cost of healthcare, the cost of transportation, the cost of not going to work, and the long queues. So by bringing healthcare to people in their natural habitat, we've cut out all of those costs.
Some traders say they would not see a physician if the market doctors didn't visit.
At least like 5 minutes, we leave our job, then go to them, they attend to us, we come back to our shop to attend to our customers. So it's very, very easy for us.
The cost of traditional healthcare is another hurdle.
I found that people could really not afford medical care. So you see people discharging themselves in hospital against medical advice. But they got to this point because they didn't have access to primary health care. And that's what Market Doctors does.
Ayo Oyalowo sets up mobile medical stations in the markets, offering consultations, health screenings, and minor treatment at affordable rates.
It's happening because there's a healthcare access gap, and individuals are trying to fill this gap.
The World Health Organization recommends there should be 10 doctors per 10,000 people. In Nigeria, there are just 4. If access to medical care is not addressed, many fear more people will seek help from quacks and people who are unqualified, and those peddling fake medicines.
Subscribing and commenting on our YouTube channel is one way to get mentioned right here. The other is by clicking Request a Shout Out on our website. From Orange Park, Florida, we're excited to see Mr. Daniel's class. The Raiders are here from Orange Park High School. We're taking a hike with the Mountaineers next of Deer Creek Middle School. It's in Littleton, Colorado, where Miss Good, Miss McKibben, and Miss Pritchard are teaching. And one state west in Utah, Mr. Ashby's class is in the home of the Eagles. That's Deseret Peak High School in Tooele. Peter Holst Olsen is a champion you might not have heard of, but when it comes to producing prodigious pumpkins in the European nation of Denmark, Olsen is both a back-to-back winner and a record holder. Here's him celebrating his gigantic gourd's winning weight this year, though there might be some questions about the character congratulating him. There's no question that Olsen's 1,991 pounds of pumpkin is tops. To make his accomplishment even more amazing, this was the scene from last year when he was also crowned Pumpkin King, and that 2,462-pound squash set a Nordic record. Would you say it squashed the record? That it beat it to a pulp? That it planted the seeds of a gorgeous and vine legacy that was anything but easy as pie and stemmed from one Pumpkin King's willingness to show his motives were puree and that he knew jack about lanterns? I would. I'm Carl Azuz for The World from A to Z, and you are the best part of what we do. Thank you for watching.